If I go into your business and I do exactly that and that alone, I can be able to literally increase your sales by anywhere from 15 to 20%. Easy. Just doing that, and it'll probably take me no more than 2 days.
What's going on, Facebook? How's everybody doing? We are on for a bonus episode of the Community Conversion Show today. We got 2 Facebook ads, rock stars. If you guys missed the previous episode, go check it out on my profile, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, any of those places, and get ready for some even more advanced stuff. We are going to be talking traffic optimization, advanced targeting with Facebook ads. And guys, you are in for a treat. My buddy Joseph Lazikin here is like one of the wizards. Like the amount of things this guy knows and has taught me have literally made me and my clients millions of dollars. Literally, like no exaggeration. Like I learned this really cool Black Friday strategy from him a couple of years ago, and I ran it. And then when I did it, a bunch of people, like a bunch of my clients, like, dude, how the heck did you do that? I'm like, Joseph just showed me this thing. It worked. So like this guy, he can share some of his background and his experiences with you, but incredible. So just listen close, take what he says as serious as you can and as much as you can comprehend. He's like a evil genius with this stuff. So if it's a little over your head, don't think he's crazy, think he's onto something. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. It's gonna be a fun one. I know I'm gonna learn some things. Everybody else is gonna learn some things. If you guys are running Facebook ads, this is the episode for you. If you are not running Facebook ads, go watch the episode with Azrael, and we're gonna inspire you to get started and then catch up on this one. So for those of the people that don't know you, you want to just give a little bit of background on what you've been up to, some of the companies you run, and what you're all about.
Yeah, I mean, I have done pretty much everything at this point. I've been marketing since I've been, 19, and I've been programming everything that you can imagine since I've been 12. Built multiple tech companies, sold them, built multiple e-commerce companies and sold those. And right now I own a women's fashion brand. I own an agency. I own a couple of tech companies right now, a couple that are actually around Facebook ad automation, and also another one that's going to be coming out here soon, which I guess I could be able to kind of give you guys a little bit of a kind of like a preview of. I ended up creating, as of probably about 3 weeks ago, I'd say about 2 weeks from being released, an application that allows for you to be able to drop ship from here in the United States from other stores. So if you have a Shopify store, you can actually be able to have it to where anything that they have in their store, you can now add to your website and profit share with that other company. So for those of you that don't want to be able to build out your own brand and you just want to be able to create a really cool marketplace like Amazon, for instance, or just being able to have a store where you add some viral products to the top Shopify stores and be able to make a profit share, well, you can be able to easily do that now with the software that we've created.
Nice.
So that's kind of what I've been up to.
That's awesome. That's big, man. So like, what's the vision with that next?
Well, what's really cool about that is I was looking at how Amazon was generating wealth for a bunch of people. And then I was also looking at how everybody is really into dropshipping right now. And I thought it would be really unique to be able to take both of those models and be able to figure out how to be able to enable everybody to be able to make money without having to rely on China. So for the people that have figured out how to be able to actually import their products, for instance, like being able to like import necklaces or like jackets and leggings and stuff like that, right? The thing is that now you're able to have it to where if you want to be able to make money, all you have to do is find the top stores who have this app and import their products and start running ads. You can actually get up and running without having to worry about overhead, customer support, or pretty much anything. Because it's all fulfilled through their store. So if I get a sale on my store, but have it to where I'm listing, let's say, your product, the sale will come through my store, but also get cloned into your store. So that way you can be able to fulfill that order to that person.
That's incredible. That's like next level drop shipping. That's really cool. Like
Yep.
you got all these cool tricks up your sleeve, man. And I know we're going to dive into a lot of that today, especially around Facebook ads and targeting and traffic optimization. So like what type of a person should be paying the most attention right now? Like anybody you want to call out and be like, you need to listen to this.
I mean, anybody who's like looking to be able to really optimize their Facebook ads right now, a lot of people have a lot of confusion about like Facebook ads will one day be really great and really bad the next day. And the strategies that I'm about to go over are going to allow for you guys to be able to make even more money. This is actually some of the very simple tactics that don't require any code that you guys can be able to utilize in order to be able to completely reduce your overhead in terms of ad spend and be able to drastically increase your profit. It actually is so smart that it actually allows for Facebook, when you end up using it in the way that I'm about to show you guys, to physically train Facebook with its own algorithm. Okay, so Facebook is trying to be able to find new customers on this end. Well, it forces Facebook on the other end to find all the people that won't buy from you and creates an intersection so that we only get the top quality traffic. It's actually a really weird technique, but I think you guys will get a really huge kick out of it. So anybody who's
Yeah,
advertising on Facebook in any kind, this is for them.
absolutely. And you got awesome software, Pixel Smarter. We're going to talk about that throughout. I'm sure that's going to, expand everything that you guys are doing.
Yep.
And if you run ads, got to check it out. So let's get into some of these targeting hacks. And for anybody out there watching right now, like are you guys running ads right now? Like, let me know in the comments, like what's your monthly spend, so we can see kind of who's out there and what level we can help you with. So yeah, let's get into some of these targeting hacks, man.
All right, sounds good. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop open here. And so right now, this is just an ad that I have. This is just a blank page. This is something that I'm setting up for my mom for Christmas. Nobody, like, tell her. She doesn't know that I'm setting up a whole business for my mom. But anyway, so this is a dog-based thing because she loves dogs. So I'm going to show you guys a really simple strategy. Now, you guys have probably seen whenever you get an email, how you have the unsubscribe link at the bottom to be able to no longer get their emails. Well, why haven't you ever applied that to ads? So simply put, I end up having it to where in the very first comment, I end up putting, never want to see this ad again. Click here to unsubscribe. Now, you're probably going, wow, that's really weird. And what I'm doing is I'd created a specific page, okay? And what you're gonna wanna do is that you're actually gonna wanna go in, and if you have WordPress or if you have Shopify, you just wanna create a page, right? So I ended up creating a page. I didn't put any content in it. I can customize it if I really want to, but I'm just doing this for the purpose of this live. Typically what you would do is that you would have an unsubscribe form about why did they unsubscribe? So that way you can be able to figure out why they unsubscribed. And then based on what they answered, you try to be able to resell them on some other points. So that way you can recover that customer. It's actually a really clever way in order to be able to make sure that you get more sales. So right now you have it to where you've taken this link, right? And you are wanting to be able to have it to where on the actual ad, you're going to end up putting it right here. So that means when people are seeing your ads, they're going to end up seeing your ad and they're like, oh, this is so stupid. I don't want anything to do with dogs. I have cats. And you're gonna end up having it to where you go, if you never wanna see this again, click this link, right? So now when people end up not wanting to be able to see your ads, about 30 or 40% of them, I kid you not, will actually click this unsubscribe link. And as a result, what you can now be able to do is we've already copied the link. You're gonna wanna go over to your business manager, okay? And you're gonna go into your ad account. So if you go into your ad account, you're gonna see these tools that are right here. And inside of those tools, you should see the audiences feature. And you're going to create a custom audience, and you're going to go in here and you're going to end up having it to where you go to website activity, and it goes to anybody, okay, who's gone to a page. So page view within the last, I would say, well, let's have it to where they drop off. Like we get to retarget them again in 90 days. And have it to where we contain the exact URL that we created, our unsubscribe page. So this is our entire unsubscribe audience. Right? Now, here's the cool thing that you're probably not thinking of as we're doing this. What's really fascinating is that by creating this unsubscribe audience, there's a couple of things that we can do. And remember how I mentioned how Facebook can actually have it to where they use their algorithm to be able to find the people that don't want to see your stuff? Well, you can be able to create a lookalike audience of everybody who's unsubscribing from you. So it's probably other people that would naturally unsubscribe to you, right? Or at least that's how the logic might play out. So you end up creating a lookalike of it. And you're probably going to want to have it to where you end up doing maybe the top 5% of people who are unsubscribing from you, right? So we're going to want to do our unsubscribe list, which we just created, which is, where is it?
May not have populated yet.
Oh yeah, it hasn't populated. Let me do it this way. So we'll create a lookalike, and we'll have it to where we select the United States because that's the only place that I'm advertising. And what we're going to do is that we're going to go to 5%. So this will be the 5% of people closest to the people that have been unsubscribing, which is about 12 million people. And what that's going to force Facebook to do is, as every single person that clicks unsubscribe, this audience is going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And it's going to allow us to be able to get closer and closer and closer to the actual person that we're trying to be able to actually target. So this is where it gets really powerful. Now, we've created our unsubscribe audience, which is, let's see, fail to be able to create. Maybe it's because I just created it, but you're going to want to be able to have it where you obviously create a lookalike off those people. Since it's pending, I guess I can't create it right now, but you would want to be able to create that lookalike audience. Okay. Then once you end up having it where you create that lookalike audience, you're going to go to your ad, whatever it is, right? And you're going to go here, and just like you would exclude purchases. So typically your excludes should basically exclude any kind of purchases, and you want to be able to exclude the unsubscribe audience, right? So as a result, now what you're able to do is that anybody who sees this ad and clicks the unsubscribe will never ever see it again. And if we could be able to put that lookalike in here, the unsubscribe lookalike, which I can try to be able to create again, see why Facebook didn't let us. Let's see. Try one more time. Let's do 5% and United States. It might not be able to allow, it might have to actually finish pending before we can do this one.
Oh, good.
All right. So I guess Facebook's being weird, so we're not able to do that right now. So typically what you would do is that you would include that unsubscribe audience and then the lookalike right here under exclude people from being able to see it. So what that means then is that we have something like this. So if I were to be able to go, and let's just create a random graphic just for the purpose of showcasing this to you guys. I'll just pull up one of these blank charts. So let's have it to where we end up doing a circle, right? So what this ends up doing is that, let's say that the red represents all the people that we don't want to be able to actually have. And then if we copy it and paste it, all of the blue people or green people, I guess, are the people that we want to be able to see our stuff. And let's have it to where we reduce the transparency so that you guys can be able to see this a little bit more, right? And then everybody who falls in between here, right, is the sweet spot. So let me just change the colors a little bit so that way it's a little bit easier to understand. So let's change the transparency. There we go. And let's make this one blue. That way it's easier. All right. Maybe that transparency needs to be a bit stronger. All right. So what is happening right now is that everybody who is unsubscribing, right? So when they're created into the audience, they'll never ever see it again. They'll never see it, period. So immediately you get the efficiency of never showing your ads to people that just simply aren't interested in your brand. That's the first factor of efficiency that you're going to end up getting. Then on the flip side, when you end up creating a lookalike audience from those people, Facebook has its algorithm over on this left-hand side, trying to be able to find everybody else who is most likely to unsubscribe from your content. Then on the right-hand side, because you're doing a conversion-based campaign, Facebook's trying to be able to find all the people that are going to actually do the thing that you want them to do, which is typically buy something or convert or sign up as a lead or whatever it is. So you have its algorithm working for you on both sides. And as a result, when you end up excluding them from each other, you end up with this sweet spot in the middle where, guess what? Instead of having it to where you end up spending maybe $30, $40 for an acquisition, now you're maybe only spending about $10, $15 for an acquisition. So immediately your ad cost ends up plummeting through the floor. Now, another really great way in order to be able to really dial into your audience. So for those of you that maybe have like, I don't know, let's say a course or an info product, or you're dealing with e-com, but you're dealing with like B2B, or you know that your customers are a specific type. Like let's say that I'm trying to do a food subscription business. One of the easiest ways in order to be able to really drive depth with a food subscription company, right? Let's say it's a healthy food subscription company, is you can go to my buddy's software. So if you guys have ever seen Marketer Magic before, it's a tool that allows for you to be able to do a bunch of different things. It's not mine, it's my buddy's tool. And you can be able to go in here and you can be able to basically create a list of pretty much anything that you want. So it looks up all the businesses for specific things. So here's a campaign that we're going to end up creating in this. So let's just hypothetically say if we're doing a food-based company, we're going to want to be able to find all the personal trainers in an area. So we're going to call this personal trainer food audience, healthy food audience, right? So two different demographics of people based on job title that we would want to be able to target here are going to be trainers, because obviously they're helping people get fit, and then part of getting fit requires you to actually be healthy. And the other one is going to be nutritionists. So we can be able to type in nutritionists, or better yet, we can just type in trainers. So if we type in trainers and then we type in a city, let's say Boston, what this allows us to be able to do is then be able to pull up all of the different trainers in Boston. So all the physical training companies in Boston, right? And you see all the emails that are here. Well, Facebook, ever since they ended up having it to where you could be able to do offline conversions, now has it to where you can be able to pixel emails. Now, that's a little bit more complicated than I can be able to show over the term of this live, but this is a phenomenal way where you can be able to send an email blast to all these people and have it to where if they open it, they'll get added to a targeting list and allow for you to be able to have it to where you can spend $1 a day on Facebook ads and make, I kid you not, I have some ad sets performing at over 80x. So it's ridiculous. So able to be able to get easy, cheap leads, just being able to do this, and then having it to where you email and pixel them. If you guys want to learn more about that, you can be able to follow me or message me. I'll probably end up doing like a live or something about that. That's more in depth. It'll probably take about an hour to go over that, so we don't have that time. But the other thing that I want to be able to show you guys today is, if you guys see right here, it has their addresses. And the reason why I really love this tool is because it has this address. What you can be able to do is that you can be able to just click copy, and then you can go over here. And if you want to be able to get really targeted, right? Let's say that you don't want to target everybody in the world. Well, then we can be able to close this out. And if we're only targeting people who are working with physical trainers without having to go directly to that physical trainer themselves, because maybe they were grumpy and they didn't want to like collaborate with us. Well, what we can do, and this is something that a lot of people don't do, is you can use what I call the sunflower technique. So the sunflower technique is really simple. So if we type in the address that we just ended up getting, so if we type in this, and that should end up going into Boston, well, congratulations, there's their place of business, right? So we can be able to narrow it down towards only a mile. And obviously we're talking about Boston. This is a very large radius. A mile is a lot of people, but this is where it gets fun. And this is where the sunflower technique really ends up working really well. So you're going to end up going to the exclude. So you see this little exclude, then what you're going to do is that you're going to zoom out just a little bit, and you're going to click drop pin. All right, and we're going to put this down to a mile. And guess what's happening? We can be able to see here that now there's only this small section, right? Anywhere where this is red overlap, it will get rid of this blue. So what do you think we're going to do? We're going to make a flower. By doing that, what we can be able to do now is that if we place these all around, and obviously you want to do it with better accuracy than I'm doing right now, because I'm almost including an entire city block at this point, but you want to be able to drop it in a little bit closer, maybe like right there, right? And then as we keep going around, what do you think is happening? We're getting closer and closer where the only people that are going to actually ever see that are going to be that building. Now, obviously, I'm doing this very rough, so clearly I need to be able to move this pin in significantly. And if I go down to a mile, okay, I went over the actual thing, so let's remove that.
So it's like hyper geo targeting. Like you're just excluding all of those spots and then making sure that it's to that small radius.
Yep. So that's all you're pretty much doing, is basically having it to where you just basically hyper geo target that specific area, and you can get it down almost exact, to be honest.
Nice.
I've done this really commonly with a lot of different brands, a lot of different businesses, and all you have to do is just that.
You can do that for, like, I remember a lot of people doing stuff like that for conferences, where they would do something like that for, like, you know, Photo Hacking Live or whatever event. They don't even have to be there to like represent.
Yep. Exactly. So when it comes back to having events again, this is a fantastic technique that you can be able to use. Another one, obviously, for events, obviously everybody knows this, is Snapchat. You can be able to use the Snapchat filters, and you can actually be able to drop a pin. And a third one that's actually really good for those of you that are taking notes is Waze, the driving app that Google ended up purchasing that allows for you to know when cops and like accidents end up happening. That specific app actually has the ability to be able to drive virtual billboards when somebody passes within a mile of that radius. So that means that if you were to drop a pin on Funnel Hacking Live, well, it was at the Gaylord in Tennessee, right? That is a mile around of a property. So everybody that's inside of that is going to constantly end up getting your ads. And if they have the app, they're going to constantly get ping, ping, ping to their actual phone, which is going to be great. So that's one way of being able to do that. So the reason why I call it the sunflower technique is, as you can be able to see, it looks like a flower. So you got the blue part in the middle, and then you got the reds on the outside, and clearly you want to be able to zoom this in. This is really good too for those of you that actually want to get hyper specific on your actual audience. So for instance, let's say that you only cater to the top 1% of people in the world. A great way to be able to do this is you can go over to Google, and you can be able to type in like, what are the most affluent neighborhoods in this city? And then as a result, let's say that Hyde Park is that affluent neighborhood. The best part about it is that now what we've done is that we've basically focused it in where, instead of just including the entire zip code, which typically people would end up doing underneath here, because you can go into like wealth and you can type in, okay, top 1%, top 10% of zip codes. It might not, let's see, zip codes. It might be because we're on Zoom that it's not automatically giving any suggestions. Is anything coming up? Oh, Facebook did. Okay. So we can be able to go through it this way. Go to behaviors. You can be able to go to consumer classification. And let's just hypothetically just find a random company. So people who prefer that. So you can typically be able to do zip codes, people that can be able to be like by a higher zip code. And that's how it's always been done, hypothetically, of people that are been targeting like zip code specific. But with this, you're able to actually have it to where you can get down to the specific neighborhood. So if you're just trying to be able to like reach a specific group of like 50 affluent people, you can use the sunflower technique at $1 a day, and you can get in front of them. Also, for any of you that are trying to be able to network with a specific individual, this is also a really great technique as well, because I've actually used this in order to be able to put my stuff in front of CEOs of major companies. And it's been a great way in order to be able to actually advertise and get them familiar with me before I end up hitting their email box. So for those of you that are doing any kind of coaching or info products or something, if you have a dream client, you can actually be able to figure out where they live really quickly. There's a lot of different services where you can be able to find that. And then you can use the sunflower technique to just target them with ads, and they have no idea why they keep seeing you.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Did you ever read that story about I think this was a few years ago, where they talked about this guy wanted to prank his roommate and send him the targeted ads? Yeah. Do you want to reshare that story? I think people like that one.
Yeah, so what a guy did is he sent his friend a link, just like this unsubscribe link that we just ended up creating. And in Facebook, he knew that that was the only person that was ever going to go to that link. So as a result, what he ended up doing is that he ended up having it so that way he would retarget that person, right? So he created a custom audience on anybody who went to that page, and clearly it was only his buddy. So what he ended up doing is that he ended up creating ads, literally ended up doing all different types, like, did you really end up like, I can't remember, it was like comedy things like, did you really wear that sweater out today, or something else like that. It was just like these weird
Yeah,
different
and I remember it was like talking about his specific phobias and stuff
Yep.
like that. Like, are you afraid of water bottles? Like, what?
Yeah, and it was great. And the guy, and anything that they would end up talking about him and the roommate, he would end up coming up with an ad as that was the next thing, and his friend
Yep.
ended up bugging out. It was great. I mean, that was actually what, that was 6 years
Marketers.
ago.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, that was when Facebook allowed for you to be able to see how many people were in your actual audience. Now they don't. They give you a rough estimate. And if it's underneath 1,000 people, they just say, oh, it's less than 1,000. They don't say, oh, there's only one person. Because before, you used to be able to exclude and be able to create all these different really cool techniques to be able to literally hyper segment down to who you wanted to target. But the techniques that I showed you guys are really great. The one that I showed you with the unsubscribe technique, that hands down, if you do nothing else from this entire live and you just use this when you do Facebook ads, your conversion rate will skyrocket through the roof. And then for those of you that have funnels and stuff, you guys can create an unsubscribe funnel to where they get to be able to vote on whatever it is that they ended up unsubscribing for, and then, or like why they want to unsubscribe. And you can use those points to then go to a page where it counteracts those points and gives them, say, hey, we're sorry that you didn't feel like that was enough value. Here's twice as much product for half the cost. And they're going to be like, whoa. And then you can get a sale out of it instead of just having it to where it's wasted ad spend. So
yeah, or even an affiliate page, like, oh, you have a cat? Oh, come check out this other website.
Yep, exactly. There's a million different ways that you can be able to monetize from it, where you can be able to pick up some extra funds. Another thing that's actually worth mentioning, now that you ended up saying that, and this is kind of a no-brainer, one of the things that I don't know why people don't do this, which is kind of crazy to me, is people don't put ads on the pages that they are advertising. So this is really weird for a lot of people to be able to understand, but if you're driving Facebook ads and you're paying, let's say, I don't know, 30 cents cost per click, why wouldn't you put Google ads on the actual website at the bottom, so that way you can be able to make money back for every single person that ends up hitting the page? As a result, you might only get 2 cents back, but the thing is that it accrues over time. So for every 1,000 people that you end up sending to the website, you get $2 back. So it's like cash back, except you have ads at the bottom. And that strategy works so well. We've actually used it with a couple public companies, and you can actually see it live on JCPenney's. They're not one of my clients, but they're actually one of the clients that I ended up kind of discovering this whole strategy from. And they actually ended up using it, and they were able to increase their profitability by 8%.
Wow. And you don't think it's too much of a distraction for like other ads to be placed on your site?
So the cool thing is that with this, you can actually limit what type of ads are actually going to be allowed to be on your site, because you can select the category. Yep.
So how would you make sure it's not siphoning your own traffic off? Is there a strategy for that?
The thing is that if it's not advertising something that's very like competitive with you, at the end of the day, even if it were to be able to take a click or anything else like that, it's not really going to matter as much, because it's not directly competing with you. So will you lose some traffic? Absolutely. But how much more money will you end up gaining from people that didn't even care about the ads in the first place and ended up just getting basically making you money for the impressions? It's an easy way to be able to get a small fraction of your ad spend back. And then if you add like actually like a Amex Gold card on the back end, you can actually get 4 points back for every dollar spent. So between those two strategies, you can almost get 10% off your ads.
Okay, very cool. Like, I feel like that should be a one of your value posts in itself. Like, run the ads, you know, put it on this card, do that, bam, 10% off your ad. That's pretty cool.
Yep, that's it's a great way. I mean, you can be able to see more about it right here. Just to kind of give everybody who's watching this right here, if you end up getting the Amex Gold, you get 4 points back on the top 2 categories that you end up spending on. So one can end up having it where it's marketing and ad spend, and then the other one can be whatever the heck else you want. But 4 points back is really great. And then they also have a charity program where you can be able to donate those points for charity, and it roughly comes out to about a penny per point. So that means that you're getting 4 cents back for every dollar spent towards your taxes. Nice point strategy.
There you go. That's awesome. Cool, man. Any other ad hacks do you want to share with everybody?
I think probably the biggest one, and this is something I'm going to be able to give everybody. This is something that I created for my course. So I actually have a course where I teach people and stuff like this on all different types of stuff. I have a beginners friendly one, and this is one of the materials that's in the beginners friendly course. And what it does is it really breaks down so that way you can be able to understand what your numbers need to be and actually where you need to spend your time. So one of the biggest mistakes that new companies make, or whether or not that they're a company or let's say just an infopreneur, you want to be able to make sure that you know what your numbers are, because they end up focusing often only on the ad side. And believe it or not, focusing a lot of your effort on ads versus actually focusing on the funnel, you'll end up seeing how those numbers end up making sense. So just to kind of go over that really quickly, let's say that you are selling a $97 course and you have it to where maybe that is going to end up costing you Oh, geez. Well, you have your transaction fee, which is 3%, which ends up meaning that this is probably going to end up being somewhere around, I don't know, $3-4. And then let's say that you have a support person. So let's just say that your total product cost is $5, right? So this is for an info product. This isn't something that's physically mailed. You just have you have your transaction fee, which you have to take out. And then you also have it where you have to pay somebody for support. Now, let's estimate that you only have a 1% conversion rate to be able to keep your numbers simple, and you want to be able to make $10,000 a month. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. A lot of people are looking at this going, okay, well, what is it that I'm looking at? What this does is that it allows for you to be able to see how many audiences are going to be profitable for you based on a cost per click basis. Now, as you know, when you target different interests, you have more competition or less competition. And as a result, your cost per click is going to be higher or lower because your cost per impression for that specific interest is going to be higher or lower. Obviously, as you improve the creative, that can also affect your cost per click. But here's the thing that it allows for you to be able to see. Does your cost per click matter more, or does your conversion rate on your website matter more? So as we end up looking at this, we can be able to see right here, our cost per click is 20 cents. So if we end up having it to where it all of a sudden becomes 22 cents, well, is that more impactful than maybe tweaking our website and getting a 0.2 conversion lift? Absolutely not. We made an extra $900 by having it to where we tweaked our website just a bit in order to be able to make more money. So when it comes to being able to figure out where to be able to spend your time, hands down, your landing page and spending it on your funnel and optimizing it and breaking it out. That's another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if you have a funnel, you absolutely want to be able to break out your front end page. And what I mean by that is if you guys are familiar with ClickFunnels or if you guys are familiar with any type of website, you're going to have it to where you're going to have a percentage of women buying from you, a percentage of men buying from you, and a percentage of people that are younger and older buying from you. So what I call is the 4 quadrants. So you typically want to be able to have it to your front end page. You end up splitting 4 variations of it, and you end up having it to where you have different copy and different imagery and different key points for each one. And you're probably thinking, well, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, here's the reality. If you were to tweak your landing page, right? And let's say that you were to be able to, instead of putting a guy at the very top of the landing page and you ended up putting a girl instead, that might appeal to girls more than it will appeal to guys. And as a result, if you only have one landing page, the conversion lift will end up having it to where maybe 20% more girls end up converting, but 40% less guys convert. And as a result, you think it failed as a split test because you ended up having it to where you ended up having a lower overall conversion. So if you break it out to where you have 2 different front ends, one for men and one for women, you get the net lift of 20% more women converting, and you keep men converting at the exact same. And then all you do in order to be able to make sure that you segment that traffic is that when we go into the ad set, as you guys know, you can be able to break up male, female. If I go in here, I think I went too far. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. So instead of having it towards all genders, you just select men, and then men end up having it to where they go to that specific one, and then you clone that ad set and that ad, and you have it to where it goes to women. And that's as simple as you need to be able to have it. And you just change the ad of where it lands, and you're good. And then you break it up by young and old. And what you're going to end up finding out is that if you start to split test those separately, I'm not even kidding you. Anybody, like any business, if you guys are doing like, let's say $20,000, $30,000 a month, if I go into your business and I do exactly that and that alone, I can be able to literally increase your sales by anywhere from 15 to 20%. Easy. Just doing that, and it'll probably take me no more than 2 days.
How would you call that one? Like make sure you're split testing your ads and your landing pages to the genders?
Not just genders. So what you want to be able to do is that you want to look at your 4 key quadrants. And what I mean by that are who are your 4 key demographics. So typically for the average brand, and I mean, this is like 95% of brands, the 5% are the ones that are like only appealing to one gender. So the 95% of brands, you have a younger age and an older age. Okay. So male, female, young woman, older woman, and then you have a young man, older man. You're going to have 4 different variations of your landing page because of that.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah,
So
makes sense.
the only thing that would be different is, let's say that we're only doing, let's say, women's fashion. That means that we're only appealing to women, right? So what we would then end up doing is that we would go, well, who's the avatar that actually buys from us? Well, it's expensive. So maybe the girls that like Lululemon are a key customer base of ours, right? So that would be one variation. And we're like, okay, who's another one? Then we would end up creating another one. So that way, when we create interests that we're targeting and they're huge fan bases that we know that we're getting great conversions from, if you break out a landing page specifically for that interest, like let's say that we're targeting Kim Kardashian, right? If we had an influencer campaign with Kim Kardashian, or we have it where we're selling, I don't know, let's say Fashion Nova, right? We would be able to say, you can look like your favorite celebrities, right? And if you use that line at the very top of your website, then featured your product, guess what? They're going to be going, oh, I already like her. Or if you had that photo or something else like that, like let's say Kim Kardashian's wearing your actual clothing, your conversion rate's going to skyrocket through the roof versus if you had it to where it was hidden somewhere on the website. So split testing and breaking out your front end page that people hit once they go from an ad is hands down the easiest way to be able to drive your results to the moon.
Yeah, okay. Love it. That's easy enough, right, guys? You guys taking notes on this? So for everybody out there watching, like read these tips. And I'm gonna turn this into a little graphic or something so you guys get it all in one spot.
Infographic.
Yeah, man, love all this stuff. Guys, pay attention here. This guy's running, millions of dollars in ads, and he knows this stuff. He's in it every day. So hope you guys found some value in that and put it to use. And yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing. I'm sure people are going to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, I just want to be able to kind of help out. I know that everybody's getting closer to Christmas, and if these tactics can be able to help you guys have an amazing Christmas and amazing profit, hell yeah, it's going to be even a better Christmas, better 2021. Anything is better than 2020.
Can only get better from here, right? Yeah, wild year, but we're making the most of it. And yeah, man. So thank you so much for your time. And so where can people go to connect with you if they want to learn more, check out your stuff?
Yeah, just follow me on Facebook. Honestly, I am probably the most active on Facebook. I'm starting to a little bit venture out over on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna actually start investing more time into building out my TikTok. I posted one video on how to be able to basically get to $1,000 a day with dropshipping, and it did really, really well. And now I'm having it to where I'm going to start producing more and more like short little like 60-minute clips of like different value things to be able to do in strategies and stuff like that on my TikToks. But for now, I would say most of the strategies are probably going to end up being on my Facebook. Literally, I have to go to a meeting that I have to drive to for about 30 minutes. And if you've ever followed me or ever heard of me, you probably have seen that 99% of my lives are while I'm driving to wherever I'm going. I'm just spewing all different types of like Facebook ad hacks and everything else like that.
Nice.
To be able to try and help you guys out.
Love it. Good stuff, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and appreciate your time. Everybody, make sure you guys say thank you down in the comments, and go follow them, buy all this stuff. It's awesome. And see you guys next week for another episode.
Awesome. Thanks, man. And I'll send up soon.
Yeah.